I think I sound a little bit better, but let's talk about Tua Tagovailoa and that contract. What is up, Finn fans? So there's a lot of stuff swirling around for the past couple of weeks about Tua Tagovailoa and should he hold out, and the Dolphins should draft Penix at 21, or should they trade him here, or should they do this, should they do that, all that stuff. And I kind of want to sit down and talk about it. Now, I have a ton of videos planned for this week. I want to look at the AFC East and kind of see how it's changed after free agency. I'm going to do the same thing after the draft. I also want to, I'm going to start breaking down prospects, and we're going to start with wide receivers. I think that's going to be Friday. And I got my top 5. Now, these aren't the top 5 prospects. It's kind of the top 5 prospects in the Dolphins range, because obviously Harrison Jr. is out of their range. So it's kind of top 5. And that's what I'm going to do for all, the tackles, the guards, the outside linebackers, middle linebackers, all that stuff in their range. But some of them, it's top 5. Like middle linebackers, Dolphins have their choice of anybody. So give you a little idea of what's going to happen this week. But like I said, I think my voice sounds a little bit better. So I won't apologize as much of my voice. But before we jump into this video, I got to keep the lights on. I got to pay some bills. But I also really want to thank somebody that has been helping this channel out a lot lately. And that is the sponsor for today, and that is BetUS. Let's hear from them. And like usual, I'm gonna show you some really cool bets that they have on their site.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
So as you can see here, there is their site, and I talk about it a lot. You should really check it out. Use the promo code JOIN125. You get your first 3 deposits, 125% bonus. It's really simple, easy to use. You got all the different promotions up top: sportsbooks, live betting, casino, racebook promotions. Tomorrow, apologize again. Tomorrow is the start of baseball season. You have so many baseball picks, and then when the games start, you can pick all that stuff. But we are a football YouTube channel. So one of the things, obviously, we have the draft coming up in a month. You could go in here, click draft by position, and you hit display selected. You make your pick. It's that simple. It's that easy. You can go back. You could do all of it. They also have future stuff, NFL division futures, regular season winning futures, all of this cool stuff. You can predict the Super Bowl winner of 2025. And obviously, you see who's going to be up top. You got the Kansas City, the guys who are there, and who's at the bottom? Carolina Panthers. Where's the Dolphins? Where's the Dolphins? That's not bad. What kind of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're 9th? I'll take that. I'll take that. So go check out BetUS. Link is in the description. 24/7 customer service, 24-hour payout. Check them out. So let's jump into this. Tua Tagovailoa, he's due a contract extension. Well, to some people, he's due a contract extension. Let me preference this and get this out of the way first and foremost, because a lot of people like to make assumptions of my thoughts on certain players and my thoughts on certain situations, and then come out and call me certain things, whether it's a Tua knee or whether it's this, or that. Tua, to me, is he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I'd even go say top 12, 11 quarterback in the NFL. I wouldn't put him at top 5 yet, even though last season he had top 5 numbers. He still is missing some little bits to his game that would push him into that franchise quarterback top 5 position. To me, again, this is my opinion, he's close. To me, he's very close, and he has shown signs, especially last season. And I'm going to go into detail with this. I already have a full-length Tua video, and like last year, we're going to break down his 2023 season, the goods and the bad. So I have a lot of stuff. You're going to hear this again. I think he's close, but there's a big jump that he needs to make that all of a sudden, I'm like, Tua's our guy. We can win with Tua. Obviously, you look at his record. We have won with Tua, and we can get to the promised land with Tua. Right now, I cannot say that. I think he's good. I think he'll win us games. But when it comes down to December, when it comes down to January, I still am very hesitant. I don't know what will happen with Tua at the helm. September, October, November, we're going to win. December, January, I don't know. We could win. Again, a lot of people want to take that Cowboys game away from him, but not actually look at the plays on that last drive and how he took over that third, I think it was a 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2. He took over that play call, told Mike McDaniel, go, I got this. And like, it's there. He just needs to do it consistently. And that's been my knock on him since he's been a Dolphin. So that's kind of where I'm at with Tua, because a lot of people think I'm a Tua apologist. Tua can do no wrong, da-da-da-da. And they'll just ignore what I just said for the past minute and a half. And I can't help those people. If you want to be delusional, by all means, my friend. So there's that. Now, Tua, he's getting about $23 million this year on his 5th-year option. Now, I would let him play on that 5th-year option. I would let him, because if you're going to make him the highest paid quarterback, which I, at this point right now, today, March 27, 2024, I don't think you should make him the highest paid quarterback. The contract I would give him, he would laugh, and his agents, athletes first would be like, no, you're out of your mind. So you let him play it out, because then if he performs like that, if we get to the promised land, or heck, if we win 2 playoff games this upcoming season, then make him the highest paid. What's the difference from making him the highest paid now till next season? Oh, an extra $5-6 million? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's my thoughts and ideas. But obviously the Dolphins have been talking about giving him a contract extension. Cap-wise this year, it makes sense to give him a contract extension because you clear up a ton of cap space. Then you have him locked up for the future, especially if you have confidence in Tua, which the Dolphins organization has shown they have confidence in Tua the past 2 years. Before that, they have not shown they have confidence in Tua by the moves that they've made and the rumors and all that stuff. So there's the rumors out there that the Dolphins should trade for Penix. Penix is an unknown prospect. We don't know what he's going to be like in the NFL. We know what he did in college. We know what he did in his division, which isn't that strong. Not saying it's weak, but it's not that strong. And we've seen his downfalls. We've seen his injuries. We've seen all that stuff where we this past season, we've seen Tua almost at his peak game. To me, I don't think he reached his peak last year. I think he was very close to it, but we've seen it. Penix, we don't know. So again, trade Tua, draft Penix, have Penix be the starter, or draft Penix and have him compete. We need that top draft position at 21 for something of a need. We don't have a need at quarterback. To some we do. To me, we don't. We have a need at interior offensive lineman. We have a need at defensive tackle. We have a need at safety. We have a need at all these different positions. Tackle. We don't know what's going on with Teron Armstead. Kendall Lamb, from what I'm hearing. I'm going to make a Patreon video about stuff I've heard about Kendall Lamb and all that stuff. So there's a lot that we need to be draft instead of a quarterback. And it goes back to, I'm just writing something down. It goes back to the whole Snead trade where I'm like, we're not a corner away, man. We're not. And look what we did. We got Fuller for a great price and filled multiple positions because you go out and get Snead. Yes, it only costs what, a third? We didn't have a third. No, sorry, third next year. But he signed a fat contract. So to me, they made the right move. Anyway, I'm getting off tangent and it's not the point of the video. So no, the Dolphins aren't drafting a quarterback at 21. Even if you hope and pray that the Dolphins take Penix at 21, it is not happening. Also, a lot of people think that the Dolphins will trade him. The Dolphins are going to trade him to Minnesota, where the defensive coordinator is Brian Flores. Do you think, now it has nothing to do, obviously he's not going to interact with Brian Flores if the trade happens. Brian Flores drafted him. Brian Flores was his head coach for 2 years. Do you think the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings is going to be like, Brian, come into my office. Is Tua a good quarterback? Can we build a future with him? Can he be our franchise quarterback? Can he replace Kirk Cousins? Do you think Brian Flores is going to sit there and say, yes, go get Tua. Trade your draft assets to get Tua. Trade a first and maybe a third and go get Tua. Do you think that's going to happen? So all these rumors are just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But there's this article that came out from Omar Kelly talking about Tua should play hardball. And he says there isn't a single person with any kind of awareness of Tua Tagovailoa, of who Tua Tagovailoa is, and more importantly, what he represents, who thinks the Miami Dolphins quarterback will play hardball with the franchise negotiation for a multiple-year deal. Skipping OTAs or holding in like Christian Wilkins did during camp is how business gets done in the NFL from a player standpoint. But quarterbacks live by different rules, and Tua is too image conscious to ruffle any feathers if there's a need to twist an arm. But that doesn't mean staying away or holding in shouldn't be Tua's course of action if the Dolphins drag out negotiations with the 2023 AFC starting quarterback for the Pro Bowl, or give him what he and his team feels is a lowball offer, multi-year extension. At bare minimum, Tua and his camp should tell the Dolphins he is not participating in 2024 preseason if years and guaranteed money aren't added to the contract, which I find interesting. Like he said, Tua isn't the type of guy who would do that, but his agency and Athletes First are. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm not saying they're garbage to do that. What I'm saying is, they take their players first, which they should make the money, and they did it with Christian Wilkins. And guess who else is an Athletes First player? Javon Holland, who wants some money. I'm going to make a Patreon about that. So there's a lot that's going on, and they will be like, listen, Tua, you should not exert yourself if they're not going to pay you. Will he? I don't think so. Omar continues with, it's always been said by teams, players, and their agents, the offseason is the time to do business, so Tua's camp should be negotiating, pursuing, lobbying, and maybe even strong-arming the Dolphins for an extension that guarantees him $100+ million, which is a median price tag for multi-year extension to an upper echelon NFL starting quarterback. When, or better yet, if the deal gets done, the fifth-year quarterback will become the highest paid in franchise history, even if the deal's on the cheaper end. Yeah, because Tannehill didn't, he got a contract, but he didn't get that crazy of a contract. He says the usual way players motivate organizations to meet their timelines and potentially salary demands is by not participating in the offseason program and potentially sitting out of training camp practice and exhibition games. Tua is clearly too nice of a person to do that, but if his representatives decide the Dolphins are stalling or not coming correct with a fair offer, they might need to force his hand. Wilkins, who was in a similar situation to Tua, being asked to play on his fifth-year option instead of receiving a multi-year deal, sat out all of the first 2 weeks of training camp. He skipped Miami's joint practice and all preseason, waiting for a satisfactory offer that never came. When negotiations broke down, Wilkins eventually rejoined the practice and played in all 17 of Miami's regular season games, but he did his part to apply pressure and respectfully. At some point, Tua might need to do the same, reminding the Dolphins the same thing they reminded players every offseason, which is that football isn't just a sport, it's a business. So Omar Kelly's saying that Tua won't. Like, Tua the person, he's not the type of person who's going to hold out. Because if you remember Ryan Tannehill, when we drafted him, he held out until he got a nice contract he liked. Tua, he's saying won't. But he's also saying he kind of should do a Christian Wilkins type situation where, okay, you're not giving me what I want, so I'll be here and I'll train in the facility and I'll be on the sideline, but I'm not going to participate until I get something I want. Do I think Tua's going to do that? No. I think Tua is going to, he is the type, you've seen it in Alabama. You saw it here with us. Tua's always working. There was a knock in the beginning of his career that he didn't have work ethic, which made me laugh. But he's always working. He's always trying to make himself better. He always improves on something he lacked the season before. That's just Tua. That's just who he is. So I think that's not going to happen. But do I think this is going to drag out? I don't know. Because again, if I'm the GM and he wants more money than Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, Obviously, Deshaun Watson's contract is just ridiculous. But if he wants that top money, I'm not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? And Omar uses this analogy a lot, and I think it's really funny. Are you ready to put a ring on her/his finger? Are you ready to commit to him in marriage, essentially? And I'm not. I still want to date a little bit longer. I want to see what you can do. I'm not ready to marry you and then realize that you have these flaws that we can't get past, and now I have to file for divorce and you get half of everything because I didn't sign a prenup. I'm not ready. DouglieDoWrong right now, I'm not ready. I would not give him, but the Dolphins are. And the Dolphins have made it apparent. Whether it's Mike McDaniel, whether it's Chris Greer, whether whoever, they have come out and made it apparent that they have been in negotiation talks. They want to bring Tua back. They want to sign him to a contract that, keeps him, what did Greer say, playing at a top level for multiple years or something like that. So will this drag out I thought it was going to be done before free agency started. I thought they were going to clear that cap space up and use it in free agency, but they didn't. And ESPN reported this could go into training camp. Will it? Will they get it done? Is his team asking for more than he's worth? There's a lot of question marks that are going on here, but I don't think he'll hold out. Will he sit in? Possibly, maybe a day or two, but also there's an image of Tua, and we've seen it with Wright on ESPN saying, he'll be gone next year if this or that. Like, we see this image from ESPN, from NFL.com, even from some people on Twitter of what Tua is. He's not the right guy. He's weird. He's got, he's this, that. If he sits out and all of a sudden, Mike White is taking first team reps, or Skylar Thompson's taking first team reps, or they do draft a quarterback with the 6th round, whether it's Milton or whatever, and he's there, all of a sudden that rumbling is going to get loud, and the Dolphins don't want that because it's bad enough that the rumbling already started. I wanted the Dolphins to bring in Garoppolo as a backup and replace Mike White with him because I don't think they can win with Mike White. God forbid something did happen, and someone brought to my attention, they don't want that rumbling. And it's not that Tua can't handle it, which a lot of people think, Tua can't handle this, which boggles my mind. The kid had a major hip injury. Head coach was Nick Saban, Brian Flores, and he's still here, and he was leading the league last year. He can handle whatever. But the organization doesn't want to handle it. The organization doesn't want to hear, Tua has one bad game week 5. All of a sudden, people are wanting the backup in because that's how the NFL works. So I don't think it's going to drag out, and I don't think he'll sit out. But comment below. What do you guys think? What do you think about this whole situation? I know some people don't want Tua here, so I'm expecting those comments. Oh, they should trade him. They should draft this. They should do that. And I told you in the beginning. So again, if you're like, Doug, you're just being an apologist, go listen to the first minute of my spiel and you'll hear what I have to say. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think about all this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But like usual, stay classy. That fins up.